quick recap after everything that's happened since my last video. After we left the tiny house in Pigeon Bay, Ling and I continued our adventure heading south. After we left the tiny house in Pigeon Bay, we continued heading south. After we left the tiny house in Pigeon Bay, we continued our adventure. After we left the tiny house in Pigeon Bay, we continued our adventure south, covering the east coast of the South Island, stopping over in 3 towns along the way. We stopped in the town of TIMARU, where we caught a glimpse of some little blue penguins, a small species penguins that only exist in New Zealand and parts of southern Australia. If in TIMARU, these penguins can be found along the beach at Marine Parade at around 9:30 p.m. as they return home to their nests. They seem to run on Filipino time, as the first ones only made an appearance a bit past 10 p.m, hence the dark, grainy footage. And 2, opposite to that, our roommate at our Airbnb was the furriest Maine Coon cat. His name was TJ, which stood for Tiger Jr. Truth is, I really miss my cat back in Montreal, and this cat felt close to her, just twice her size. We then left TIMARU and continued south. Along the way, we stopped to hike to Hawaii Point Lighthouse, a secluded point overlooking crisscrossing waves, and got some sweet Instagram shots from this location, #NoFilter. Oamaru, or Oamaru as the locals seem to call it, is a town known for steampunk and its Victorian architecture. We stopped at the Steampunk HQ, a smorgasbord interactive museum loaded with steampunk-inspired art pieces. I also went down a really big slide. After a quick tour of the Whitestone Cheese Factory, sampling a platter of Gruyere, Camembert, Havarti, and their gold-winning Windsor Blue cheese, and sampling a flight of beers at Scott's Brewery, we left the 19th century industrial steam-powered locomotive to our final destination. My cousin and her family have graciously been hosting us here for the past few weeks. It was a blessing to have spent Christmas with them. Despite being far from home, Ling and I were very fortunate to not have to spend the Christmas holidays by ourselves. During our stay, we took a day trip to the MOERAKI boulders. Be sure to coordinate your visit with the tide. The tide was high as a first time visiting, which limited access to the boulders further out. Ling and I returned a couple of weeks later for a second crack at it, this time at 5 p.m. during low tide, and got some pretty sweet Instagram-worthy shots. Throw a skyline filter on there. We visited the ARAMOANA beach to bask under the intense New Zealand sun. Several fur seals made an appearance along the rocky coast, also benefiting from UV-intensive sun. Ling and I hiked up Mount Cargill for a stunning view of Dunedin and its surrounding hills and bays. Another scenic hike was the Tunnel Beach Track, leading you to Tunnel Beach. We were rewarded with scenic, sloping cliffs jutting out of the ocean, overlooking a backdrop of green hills. Windy as, though. Upon reaching Tunnel Beach, we found ourselves surrounded by tourists posing on massive rocks, doing exactly what needed to be done for the gram. We also visited the sunny, beautiful St. Clair Beach. On the sunny days here, we've been at St. Clair, sunbathing, swimming, and surfing. I loved surfing here because the beach bed was sand, not that sharp, jagged, sinister coral from Hawaii that pierced, scraped, and bruised my foots. While surfing there one day, the most incredible New Zealand experience occurred. I was out there surfing, trying to catch a wave, and then I look to my right and all I see is a freaking seal eating a fish with like 20 seagulls surrounding it. Just a seal swimming the waves like it ain't no thing. Crazy. So here we are. To conclude the video, watch as we shamelessly try to get my cousin's 3-year-old daughter to promote my YouTube channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, this is your homework. Like... I can't even spell like... LK. Okay, so like... Okay, like... And... subscribe. So yeah, just practice before bed. And we'll continue tomorrow. Like.
Sabihin mo.
Like.
Sabihin mo, like and subscribe.
And subscribe. Yeah, subscribe.
Ready?
You got this,
One,
Mimi.
two, 1, 2, 3, go.